Good afternoon, Fire Division members. Welcome to episode number 3 of the State of the Division Address on this Friday, January 26, 2018. As we find ourselves in full swing of the new year, it's usually a time to reflect on a couple of things. Successes and trials from the previous year, and you're supposed to build upon your successes and learn from your trials. And then secondly, the opportunities ahead. And I think we all see quite a few opportunities ahead for us here in the Fire Division. You can either make them, find them, or watch them as they pass you by. It's your decision, but they'll be available. You have to think ahead and do things now that'll make you successful in the future. So, a few things. Voluntary retirement program. We're all aware that that was announced in November and the final date for submission was at the end of December. As of right now, the Fire Division has 9 members that have chosen to take the voluntary retirement program incentive. So what does that leave us? Well, that leaves us with a lot of holes in experience, knowledge, skills, and abilities, and maybe even more importantly, friendships. So how have we prepared for this mass exodus of our experience that will be leaving us in July? Well, we hired 16 people. We have 16 new members. One of those has already hit the floor and running, EMTI, TRFA. The other 15 are currently in Hampton Roads Regional Fire Recruit Academy number 5, which we are hosting under the direction of Chief Johnston and Captain Capes. So I told you earlier that we were approved for 4 overhires. That means that we're sitting 4 heavy as it stands right now. Come July 1, barring any other changes, we will be 5 short. You do the math. So what next? What do we need to do? Well, obviously we need to plan for those that are leaving, and many are taking, if not all, are going to be leaving quite a large hole in various parts of the organization. So we have to look at succession planning, promotions, our current organizational structure, budget parameters, what we have to deal with, and several other factors. So the Fire Division team is in the middle of that, and we'll include you as much as we can on what those plans will be. Quick update on EMTI. We did get a final word from the state that the final date that anybody can be associated with becoming a new EMTI, must be certified by this date, is December 31st, 2019. So we have plans to make sure that we take care of what we need to on that end. I've already told you we've modified the contract to address that. And we'll be preparing over the next year and a half or so to determine what we're going to do to maintain the high level of service we have for ALS provisions in the city. There is a little bit more good information. As you know, every 3 years, or you may not know, that we are an accredited EMTI agency. That requires us every 3 years to get a site visit from the state to make sure that everything in our program is up to par and doing well. Lieutenant Rodman received a phone call yesterday from the state, and because of our 100% success rate, which I believe is the highest in the Commonwealth, and the way our program is set up, we were given the option of having a site visit or receiving another 3-year extension. Of course, Lieutenant Rodman took the 3-year extension, so we are now awaiting paperwork to show that we are accredited for another 3 years. So good job to Lieutenant Rodman, his staff, and all those that were part of making that a success over the past several years. So what now? We're going to work through our plans to maintain the minimum contractual agreements for ALS provision, and you'll see some of those possibilities in the future. Quick note on 2018 leave picks. I want to thank Captain Brown. I want to thank Medic Firefighter Morgan and any others that were involved in making that a success. I think it went very smoothly, and you spoke up prior to us doing the leave picks, and we listened. And I think the team came up with a pretty good plan that was respectful of those with tenure and fair to the other members as well. So I appreciate that, Captain Brown, and your staff. Senior Master Medic Firefighter Program. I'm happy to report that as of today, all of those applications that were eligible for either new Senior or Master or reapprovals have been completed and sent out by Assistant Chief Hanger. So everybody did a great job in getting those in. We still have a few other issues we're dealing with that. We're going to try to help you guys work through it. But on that note, I stated in prior episodes that the best laid plans, we try to do the policy as straight and fair as we can. We had a large committee going over all possibilities, but of course the fire service, like us, were dynamic, and then sometimes we missed some things. So a couple members brought to our attention and suggested that we include Officer 2 as one of the specialties. Committee reconvened, looked at it, and it was logical. We added Officer 2 as one of the specialties, and that allowed a couple people actually to get their senior and master. So you spoke, we listened. You also have to remember, though, that qualifying specialties and competencies must meet a need for the division and be able to be used to improve our service delivery. It can't just be any certification. It's got to be vetted, and it's got to be something that will not only enhance your experience in a division, but will enhance our service delivery. Something else we've been looking at is radio replacement. There is a plan in place to replace all of our portables and our mobiles over the next 4 years. However, we saw a need to try to expedite that a little bit more quickly. So we received approval for matching funds should we get an AFG grant. Captain Linkus, Chief Hanger, Eric Brockwell with IT, Frank Konensky, Randy Price, they've all been working real hard to gather the figures, begin the grant, and get a quick turnaround on that. And there's a new procedure in the city when it comes to grants that makes things take a little bit longer. However, I've been assured by all those departments involved in the approval process that they're going to help expedite that for us. So that's a good thing for us. So we hope we get that grant. I should note on that grant, one of the things that we're looking at is making sure that those in the alpha seats, radios in the alpha seat positions or officer positions, receive radios with the Bluetooth technology that will operate right alongside our MSAG2s. So that's not only going to enhance radio communications, but safety of the officers and crew as well. Operations. I just want to personally note, and I've mentioned it to other officers as well, and I may have mentioned this in a prior episode, but it's a routine thing that I hear on the radio of medics stepping up their game every day when they hear a call either in their district, when they're coming back from the careplex, or they're elsewhere, stepping up, taking the call without being asked. That's a good thing, and I sincerely appreciate that. I know things weren't like that in the distant past, but you guys are covering the city as best you can, and I appreciate your work on that. Radio etiquette, or etiquette on the radios and on scenes. Just a quick reminder, be cognizant of your radio traffic. None of our channels are encrypted, although we are looking into that. That's a little bit more in-depth process, but we're looking into that. Anybody with an app or scanner, which includes the media, they hear everything that's being said, regardless of whether you're on fire dispatch or a tactical channel. So be careful of what you say, and make sure that you're using industry or medical standard language, no slang on the radio, so we sound professional at all times. When it comes to the scenes, we want to be consistent with how we deliver messages, and that includes to the media. So unless you are the incident commander, the PIO, or a designated member that's providing information, please refrain from speaking to the media. It's important that we provide a consistent and accurate messages, and stick to the facts and try to avoid your personal opinions. It goes a long way when we stick just to the facts. Plus, it makes the job of fire prevention and Chief Chittum a little bit easier. Logistics. Working on apparatus replacement. We had a meeting scheduled earlier this week with Fleet that was postponed. We're awaiting a new date for that. And we'll be discussing apparatus manufacturers such as Pierce and E1 to see what's best for our department, and a replacement schedule for not only fire apparatus medic units, but also other first response and staff vehicles. We try to stick pretty close to that so we can maintain good operating equipment out on the road. EMS. If you've been to Thomas Street at all, you see Life Pack 15s are here. Senior Medic Firefighter Morgan has been working pretty hard on getting all those set up and ready. And when Chief Tucker's shop is ready, he'll get those out to the units. So they are here. Image trend. Very robust program, but sometimes it's not always set up for us to query certain data. So Lieutenant Ward and Chief Tucker are working on creating a script that will allow you to check a box if a patient has overdosed on an opiate or opioid substance. This will help us be able to query data from this point on more easily than we're able to do right now. So here's some info from some other departments. For the City Attorney's Office, we've had a slight little change. You know, Everett has left us a couple of months back for another position over in the Navy across the water. Right now we have Brandy Law is our new official liaison. The senior staff met her Monday during a senior staff meeting. She will be assisting us with policy changes, contractual agreements, and most of those things. Lola will still be on hand to help us address any HR issues, but they'll be working as a team to take care of us. But recently, some of you may have received an email from Brandy asking you to provide her a time where you can come up to her office and speak to an outside attorney regarding a case. If you get correspondence from Brandy or Lola or anybody in the city attorney's office about something like that, just run it up your chain of command, but know that that's completely fine to do, and they're operating on your behalf and they're present on your behalf. So when that happens, and I appreciate how it all went down recently this week with the member contacting this officer, running it up the chain to make sure it was okay, so everything was good to go. So those are the procedures for that. Rumor control. I only have one thing right now, and I'm sure there's a few more out there, but there has been no discussion of hiring medic-onlys for the department. So in the future, if there are other rumors that you can't seem to quell or you don't think are right, usually they're not, but make sure you either seek out your officer, come to me, send me something by email, and I'll either confirm or deny it. I'm upfront and honest with you guys, transparent. If I can tell you, I'll tell you. A couple messages from some of the branches and groups. Health and Safety Officer Chief Barnett reminds you, if you're performing any type of extrication out in the field, whether it be training or the real deal, you need to wear iPro. If you can't find your iPro, head over to Thomas Street, go see him, he'll make sure you have what you need. Logistics. Chief Barry put out an email earlier today regarding some plumbing issues across all of our station facilities. We had one instance where it cost $6,000 to take care of the pipes due to clogs. I believe the #1 offender was grease. I'll allow you to read the email to find out some of the other offenders, which I won't mention now. But please be careful what you put down the sink, down the toilet, down the drains, because it can be very expensive to fix. Professional standards, they have several class announcements that have been made over the last several weeks. Just please review those for opportunities. Couple reminders. All incentive submissions should follow policy and make their way to AC Hangar. And it's very explicit in the policy how it should move. They're not coming at me anymore. They are going to AC Hangar at the end, and she's following the exact same procedure I did when they were coming to me. Remember, it's the member's responsibility when they are eligible to request an incentive. It's not the department's, it's not your officers, it's your responsibility. So pay attention to your data hire, pay attention to all those little intricacies that are going to make you eligible for an incentive so you can get it sooner rather than later. And if you're requesting an educational incentive, like incentive for an associate's degree, Chief Hanger will need to have a copy of your transcript that can be official or unofficial, but it must have your name, the name of the institution, the degree that you received, and the date it was conferred. It has to have all of those, and that is to fulfill HR requirements when it comes to our incentives and any promotional. And while I'm thinking about that with promotion that's coming up, make sure if you have a degree or anything that goes towards promotion that HR has a copy of those things. You'll be receiving some information soon about that. That'll lead me into the promotional process that they should be announced in February. Work has already started on that. It'll be very explicit in the details of what you have to do. Be diligent, because there's the opportunity. Do your part to make sure that you're set up for success. Virginia Fire Officers Academy, there's 2 sessions, June 3rd through June 8th and June 10th through June 15th. If you're interested in going, you can go to the website, read a little bit more about it, or talk to other officers that have attended that academy. It's an excellent opportunity for up-and-coming officers. What else do I have for you? Division Award Ceremony. That's coming up in June. That's June 7th at 6 p.m. at Fort Monroe Theater. We had several entries for awards and recognition. I'll be convening a board according to policy to go through those and make sure we've done them correctly. So put that on your calendar for June 7th. So I added a news section. I've done it before, but I added a news section called On the Move. These are members that have either been promoted, received senior or master, or acting status. So I wanted to make sure I recognize these individuals publicly. For Acting Battalion Chief, Captain Ray Garris is our newest ABC. I believe that occurred last week. We're glad to have him on board for the staff. Acting EMS Supervisor since our last episode, Master Medic Firefighter Arsenal and Senior Medic Firefighter LaSalle. For our medic firefighters that have been promoted to P2, or the new term as medic firefighter, we have Medic Firefighter Brubaker, Burno, Danner, Deerstein, Gunderson, Kershaw, Rena Martin, and Whitehead. Congratulations, guys and ladies. Master Medic Firefighter, we have four initial applications since we started the process back up. We have new Master Medic Firefighter Arsenal, Dion, Feliciano, Patton, and Powell. That's 5. And for our seniors, we have several. We actually have 15, and that's great, 15 new Senior Medic Firefighters. Those are Senior Medic Firefighter Bell, Crawford, Dimitrov, Elam, Hagen, Cudley, LaSalle, McWhorter, Murphy, Pages, Salud, Seibert, Snap, Snyder, Eddie Jr., and Verser. And I wanted to give a couple shout outs to end this episode. We've had a couple snow events in the last few weeks that have dumped quite a bit of snow on the road. And the last one creating quite a bit of ice. I have to say that I don't remember a time where we did not have an injury or at least some type of damage to equipment due to some type of weather event like this. I'm happy to say, especially after checking with Chief Barnett, that we had 0 injuries and 0 damage to our equipment caused by a weather-related snow event. That's pretty impressive considering what you guys had to do for those several days of snow on the ground. But also on that note, have to mention a shout out to the volunteers and those staff that staff the chase vehicles. We saw it last year, but I think we really saw it this year with how beneficial it was to have those chase vehicles out there on the road, helping the medics and apparatus not only move a patient from the house to the ambulance, but to get them to the road. So this ends episode 3 of the State of the Division address. I want to say Happy New Year. Wash your hands because the flu's going around, and find your opportunity because it's out there. Thanks for all you do, and be safe.